you've spent some time now learning how to connect with your body, doing body scans. You spent some time going over the brakes of your nervous system, meaning how do I calm down and regulate? Now I want to go over what we call the steering. And this is a really fun area where you're probably already familiar with some of our favorite tools. These are favorite tools and widespread because they work really well. The general idea here is breathing in a balanced or equal way. So that might be meaning inhaling for 5 seconds and exhaling for 5 seconds. Or inhaling, holding for 5. So inhaling for 5, holding for 5, exhaling for 5. Something we call triangle breathing. The first one was equal breathing. And then the next one was something we call box breathing. So in for 5, hold for 5, out for 5, hold for 5, and moving through. And if we go back to that gas pedal and brakes, we remember that when we balance, then we have that equal rhythm of our heart rate. And this can also be something HeartMath calls. HeartMath is a reference to a biofeedback sensor and company that does a lot around heart rate variability. We could call this coherent breathing. So we're bringing balance between the sympathetic and parasympathetic branches of our nervous system. And there might be times when we're more tired or in that parasympathetic state where this feels energizing to us, and there might be times when we're more activated and this feels calming to us. But the general idea is that we're steering and regulating. The foundation for this today will be the equal breathing. Take a moment, go into your body scan, notice how you're feeling. Notice what your respirations are doing, your heart rate's doing. And if these are things you can't notice, like maybe you don't have a sense for that, that's okay. You can use something like putting your hand over your stomach and chest. Are you breathing more into your stomach or into your chest? Are you breathing fast or slow relative to you? So once again, back to just building awareness, building literacy of what's happening for you, how you can start noticing that, and then we're overlaying different strategies so that you can make changes to how you feel in the moment based on your needs. So let's start with breathing just naturally, continuing to track and notice. After one more breath cycle, I want you to inhale for 5 count and exhale for a 5 count. And we're going to do this 2 times. So did you notice anything from just that shift of 20 seconds of breathing? I want to spend a little more time on box breathing, so we're going to go through that equal a little faster. Now we're going to go to the triangle, so we're going to go in for 5, hold for 5, out for 5. And we're going to do this one 3 times. So let's begin by noticing how we feel. A couple breaths here, and then start your count. I find it's helpful for me to tap my fingers on my leg, or we have different breathing apps that you can reference below if you'd like a counter so that it can count when you need to breathe. So we'll start with that inhale for 5, hold for 5, out for 5, let's do that 2 more times. Cool. So what did you notice? How are you feeling? For me, when I do these, oftentimes during the practice, I don't notice as much of a state change, meaning going from exhausted to energized or going from over-energized to relaxed. And by practicing this, when I feel fairly balanced and good in my life, when I go into those states, I find that I'm very quickly able to re-regulate. So I used to ski in a lot of big mountain competitions or slope style competitions, meaning, jumping off cliffs or jumping off jumps and hitting rails. And there was times where I'd get really scared. Maybe I'd been standing on top of a cliff for too long and I got kind of cold, waiting for somebody to set up for a picture, or I was just overthinking it. And I could go very quickly into this style of breathing, specifically box breathing that we're going to do next. And I could all of a sudden feel no longer afraid, more connected to my body, and ready to get what we'll call a flow state off that feature. So this breathing, box breathing, some people call it tactical breathing. The Navy SEALs have made it really popular. I see it as one of the higher value breath techniques, but the reason we wanted to walk you into this is that it's important that you notice for you which one is the best, because there is no best or right or wrong. It's just, once again, a series of experiments to notice what's working or what isn't, and then having a way to fine tune. Maybe you need to breathe like kind of the brakes, maybe more of the steering, and we'll get into the gas later. So let's begin. A lot of people will do this with a 4 count or a 5 count, but just feel into your body's rhythm. And the most important thing is that we're inhaling, holding, exhaling, holding, and then back again into the inhale, hold, exhale, hold, in a balanced rhythmic way. So we'll start with the 5 count. So in, hold, exhale, hold, and then back again into that in. So at this point, I want you to keep going for 3 more cycles and just find what count works for you. How did that feel? Is that something that you've tried before? Did it feel easy to have full lungs with holding or harder to have empty lungs? What was your general experience? There's a lot that we can unpack and do around hypoxic training, meaning learning to have longer breath holds, learning to balance and not panic in those moments. And for right now, just start noticing which part feels good. As you're holding your breath, notice if there's any muscle tension. Notice what happens in your brain and your body. Since we've gone through the brakes and the steering now, I'd like you to take time to commit to doing these breath practices, or any of these or others, twice a day, once in the morning and once at night. I know there's some of you out there that are chomping in the bit and want to do this for an hour every morning and night. Good for you. That's awesome. It will help. And your challenge from me, for all of you, is to do one breath type cycle. So that might be box breathing. So it would be in, hold, out, hold 3 times. Or it could just be equal breathing, in, out 3 times. So we're talking between 30 seconds and just over a minute of commitment, both in the morning and at night. And this is a way where you can start building routine and start building a practice of something that helps you notice how you feel, helps you shift how you feel as you need, and building that literacy so that when you need it in the moment, you can pull that tool out and it can be more effective. Because if we're waiting to dig the hole, for a well when we're thirsty, we're going to be awfully thirsty by the time we hit water. So it really is foundational to be consistent. And I've found time and time again, starting small and easy, like crawl, walk, run, is more important than spending an hour one day and then not doing it again for a month. So let's spend that 1 minute-ish in the morning and night every day. So right now I want you to commit to what time that would be. For me, I like to do it before I brush my teeth or after I brush my teeth at night, because that's something I do every day. And I know that I can just add or stack another function on that'll help me perform and feel better. And I also really like doing it in the morning because it primes me to have that in my awareness of if I get activated, I can breathe in a different way and I can go back into whatever I need to do task-wise and start feeling better. And at the end of the night, I like to do it again because I find it calms me down and helps me fall asleep. And we'll talk more about that in our sleep section of how we can start setting ourselves up for good sleep. And as you'll know from that, it actually starts in the morning, not at night. So just a little fun teaser for you if you're interested in sleeping better.